Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. I'm very happy to be here. I am a Mexican bilingual and spiritual psychotherapist living in Mérida since 2 years ago. Is the volume okay? Okay, perfect. And before that, well, I have 25 years or more of clinical experience and teaching post-graded courses, and I have written an ebook in English, How to Master the Journey with Your Teenagers, and worked successfully one-to-one psychotherapy with English spoken clients. But to be honest, this is the very first time that I speak to an audience only in English. So bear with me. This is my christening, and I am very, very happy that it's here in Mérida English Library, because there is a little story to share. That's the page where they announced my talk. No? 2 years ago, I came to make a final round with my teenage daughter to see if I was going to move to Mérida. I come from Mexico City. And my daughter didn't want to move, so I was being very careful. Where should we move? Where should we move? And there were pros and cons, of course. And this roommate at the Airbnb we were staying, she talked to me about mills. And she thought, there is an amazing place. You can meet people there. It's a huge library. Well, it's a very, very provided library. And there are talks and everything. And that completed my assessment. I said, yes, I want to be in a city when I can be part of a community. We came on, any of you came for the Christmas cards? No, okay, I was here with part of the community making these Christmas cards for the children, and I said, yes, Mérida is a place where I want to be. So that's why being here right now, sharing with you something from my profession, from my trajectory, is so important to me. And, well, why did you come here? Why did you come here? Because you saw this, and you knew this, no? You said, well, okay, am I living in a new country? Yes. Maybe some of you have kids growing up. How many of you have kids growing up abroad here? No. Okay, none. So maybe I will skip that part. Okay. And then you saw, okay, a deep and insightful conversation to navigate the psychological and emotional processes of moving abroad. So you knew. There is an emotional process, not just logistics, not just getting to know where to go to the doctor or where to find a plumber, for your house, which is a nightmare. Once in the first months you are living in a different place, I shared that it was a nightmare to find my way in a new city. And you also knew somehow at some level that living abroad brings profound shifts in your identity, in your relationships, and in your worldview. So you already know all this, no? That's why you came. So, but then what are we going to do here if you already know this? Well, we are going to make a space for all that. And Mérida English Library is going to be that estuary space. An estuary, as you may know, is where the river and the sea meet. And the estuary is this turbulent area where it has its own characteristics, and it's a whole ecosystem in itself, and it looks quite turbulent, right? So all the richness of the sea and all the richness of the river, they come together and they form something new. It's not a sea, it's not a river, it's something different. So we are going to try to make this estuary space right now to contemplate what you already know about living abroad, to go deeper, to question it, to be marveled, to own it, to integrate it, to go beyond, not just to push it aside because emotions are so troublesome that they don't help me to deal. They're in the way, you know. I have to deal with the rent. I have to deal with learning Spanish. I have to deal with finding a good plumber. I have to deal with my job, etc. And these emotions, oh my God, no, they're getting in the way. So if we make a space, as the title of the talk says, to embrace it, then we're going to find something individual, something particular, something wonderful about yourself and about your own life journey. That's the aim. So, I brought you, before we go into this slide, a poem. Don't read it, let's read it together, okay? So we can open a space for contemplation of our own emotional. Can you please? There you go. Can you please pass it, and pass it. I don't know if you are familiar with Rumi. Rumi, this mystic poet, and this is my absolute favorite poem. Let's read it together. If you want to read it silently or aloud, it's okay. It says, the guest house. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows, who violently sweep your house, empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. So, Rumi is a mystic. He already was in that level where he understands everything, even in a beautiful way. So that's it. The whole journey is here. But let's make it more personal, okay? Why talk about emotions? Why are you interested in about emotional journey? Well, first of all, when you move abroad, you need cultural intelligence, right? You need to adapt. You need to find your way with a new language and find how to understand Mexicans, how we are, right? And you need to become more mindful to be able to do so, to understand how people very different from you are responding to how you behave and how to communicate better. So first of all, to develop mindfulness, you have to go into an emotional journey. So we have one reason to really go into the emotional journey. Second, moving abroad is a transition. And I would like to mention how William Bridges talks about the transitions. Transition is like this. First, there is an ending, then a beginning, and an important empty or fallow time in between. That is the order of things in nature. Leaf fall, winter, and then the green emerges again from the dry brown wood. Human affairs flow along similar channels, or they would if we were better able to stay in that current. So first of all, through all our human transitions, we follow nature processes, like the seasons. Any of you is in economics? None of you works in economics? Well, of course I know nothing about economics, but I was listening to Tony Robbins. I don't know if you're familiar with Tony Robbins. He's like a multi-billionaire who owns the world, right? And he said that to be a successful entrepreneur, etc., you have to know that even economy follows the seasons. And when it is winter in economy, that you are struggling in vain and becoming suicidal in vain, because after winter, spring will come again. Only very few people really are very successful in the winter of economics, but it's always a cycle. And when we don't recognize that we are nature, we are not something divided from nature, we are nature, then we forget that we are also cycling. And when we make a transition, it's normal, it's natural, it's expectable to go into a winter period, an autumn period where our leaves are falling, right? And when we feel dry and we cannot bear fruit, and then we maybe forget that spring will come again. And spring always comes again, unless we block it, right? But we will see why sometimes that happens. And the last reasons to really embrace the emotional journey is because there is a transcendent dimension. Maybe you already have experienced that. Jordan Peterson says it like this: God is a creative spirit who calls us into adventure and to become heroes. What if the spirit of adventure is essential to becoming who you are meant to be? So, maybe you did want to come to Mérida because you really loved Mérida and you really wanted warmth and you really liked us Mexicans with all our partying and our laughing and etc., right? Maybe you had to come. Maybe you had no other choice. Maybe it was like a kind of an unwanted, moving abroad. But what if we look at the wanted and unwanted transitions as a call to adventure? Because all our lives are transitions. What happens if we want to stay like frozen in our favorite stage? What happens, one of my favorite stages, you can also ask me and comment and we can talk together. If you ask me, one of my favorite stages in my life with my little daughter here, like newly born, when I was able to just hold her with my two hands here, and she fit here. Oh, that was so beautiful, I was in heaven. What happened if I wanted to freeze that moment forever? Because I don't want to leave this beautiful, beautiful feeling. Then I cannot let her grow. I cannot let her move, no? Stay still. I have to kill life. So I have to let go. That beautiful, gorgeous moment that will never come back. I just have one daughter, so once a stage is over, it's over. Well, any of you have grandchildren? I would like to borrow some grandchildren to play and to hold. My daughter is just 14, so I don't expect to be a grandmother, so I don't want. So we are always transitioning and always letting go and always finding ourselves in these estuary spaces where things get turbulent, they are not like they were, and they are still not what they are going to be, and we don't like it. We like certain things, no? And now it's your time to share. What happens if we don't have to change or to transition just in one aspect? What happens when many things transition and change at once? Like, I'm naming here a list. You change country. Maybe you were a city person like me. CDMX, Mexico City is huge. And then you move to a small town. Maybe you live in a town in Mérida, or Mérida is a smaller city, or vice versa. Language, of course. Weather, hot Mérida, unless you come from Africa or the hot Texas, I don't know, but also the weather. house, I don't know, apartment to house, the house in Mexico. I know they are not of the same quality of first world countries, so adapt to that. How to get things done, repairs, documents, authorizations, deals, getting my plates for my car. It was an ordeal that I will never forget. Different culture, society, values, different schools for your children or for yourselves if you are studying, clothing, friends, food, products available, routine, economical status, marriage status, if any of you divorced or came to marry or to have a partner here, family births or losses, children transitioning to adolescent, transition from the first to the second half of life. I will talk about second half of life. I will explain it in the next slides. Changes in your health. So, any of you want to share how many of these changes went together, in moving abroad when you came here to Mérida?
Can you repeat the question?
When you moved abroad, how many changes were combined in your moving abroad? Because moving abroad is just like a phrase, but in each of your individual experiences, it is combined with maybe a change in your economical status, or maybe in your marital status, or maybe with your health status, or maybe other changes, not only that leaving your country and coming to live in Mérida. So sometimes it's like a sandwich of this changed and this changed. I came to live in Mérida, but my mother died. I came to live in Mérida, but my first grandchild was born. I came to live in Mérida, and suddenly my health is not what it used to be. Like, how many changes? Like 2, like 3, like a lot?
Well, we haven't lived here yet, but I can see there's about 13 things there that I would encounter that I didn't. So
Yes. Just looking at
that, yeah.
Exactly. So sometimes when it all gets jammed, yes, we start. It starts becoming like too much to deal with. We are not prepared to deal with all that. So, and all of us, we are in our second half of life. What is that term? Second half of life. The first great psychoanalyst to name it like that was Carl Jung. And he said, okay, the first half of life is devoted to forming a healthy ego. It's like, I'm going to be successful. I want to get married. I want to travel the world. I want to be fit. I want to be healthy. I don't want to be like my father. I want to be like my uncle, like growing. But then, the second half of life, it's, oh my God, I was married, but now I'm no longer married. I became a mother, but now my children are going away. Or I wanted to become a mother or a father, and we weren't able. Or I was successful, and then I lost my money. Or I had a lot of friends, but then some died, or there were betrayals. Those shifts, like things suddenly change, and we cannot freeze the picture where we had it all together. That marks the second half of life. Well, in the Western world, Carl Jung said it, but the Hindus, come on, the Hindus, thousands of years ago, they already knew about this. They said there are 4 stages in the human journey. They said it was for men, only men, because women are becoming like noticeable lately. No? But let's say for humans, not only for men. The first stage is the apprentice. So the little guy knows how to become a man, and knows how to hunt and how to belong to the community. And then It's you form your own family. And Western world stops there. You get married, or you have a partner, you have children, and then you expect to simply stay there and become a grandparent, and simply stay there, and simply stay there. And the evolution process is over. Maybe because you moved abroad, you already know it's not like that. There's a new beginning, and the Hindus named it the forest dweller. Once your kids were grown up, the family stage is over. And then the woman or the man, they go into a symbolic or in a real forest to find out who they are beyond the roles we are playing in society. Who am I if I am not a psychotherapist? Who am I if I am not Mexican? Who am I if I am not a religious person? Who am I if I am not a mother? If I am not a wife? Who am I? That's the process of the forest dweller. So we would be expecting that once your kids go to college, then it's time to go find out, who am I? Now that I really know what life is about. We already have like 40 years for experience. And then you come back. You find out who you are, and then you say, hey, here I am. And they represented with almost clothless people, because once you find out who you are, you don't really need much. You are just yourself, and it's the sage state. You come back and you are like a guru, you are like a guide for your family, for your community. What's happening with us in Western world? We are just aging, and that's all. And if we have the mental situations, then we are becoming with Alzheimer's, more childish and more childish. And our teenagers, I am working a lot with disturbed teenagers, they don't have really wise adults who went into the forest to deconstruct life and found like the marrow of it, and help the teenagers embrace all their questions, all their philosophy, all the rage against what they don't like, and the revolutionary. Well, now they are not really revolutionary, the teens. We are stuck there. But the Hindus knew it, and then Carl Jung knew it. And what happens if we don't follow? Then we fall sick. We start with symptoms. We start with depression. We start with anxiety. Yes. They call it, the psychoanalysts, we call it neurosis, like when you make suffering out of nothing for yourself. Your life is well, you have to eat, you're in a good country, you have a family, but you're miserable. And I find out, for example, in Switzerland, I was thinking, anybody here is from Switzerland? Okay, I had a relationship with a Swissman for 2 years and a half, so I really got to know Switzerland. And I was so impressed. For me, Switzerland was top of the first world. I wanted to be Heidi in the mountains, since I was growing up. And then he was explaining this to me. Swiss people, almost all Swiss people, yes, what they do from the morning to the nighttime is to complain. You what? I see the videos, I see the mountains, everything is clean, not like here in Mexico, like dog shit. And I grew up like skipping dog shit and the trash bags and all the bombs in the pavement. My mother fell because of the pavement, my father fell and broke their nose. Like, this is Mexico, like you have to really watch where you are. And I saw Switzerland, and everything is smooth, and everything works, and the house, wow, like, how can this be? Well, that's a neurosis, when you freeze in the perfect picture, and you don't let go of the perfect picture to go into the forest, then you start getting this neurosis of victim mode and complaining, and oh my God, this shouldn't be like this. Look at this country, and look at this economics, and look at my neighbor, and complain. So this is what happens when in the second half of life we don't dare to go to the forest, or when we move abroad, we don't embrace the emotional process. So, when we do, we get to join the historical continuity, like all the heroes, all the mythological characters who went into adventures, the hero adventures, like all the Marvel, the Marvel heroes, all Superman, they were all orphans, they were all suffering, and then they became so powerful, and then they saved the world. Well, we are called to that. But we feel we are so nothing, that our lives don't matter. I'm just getting old. That's all. I'm just going to spend the next 30 years of my life like getting the sun, or like struggling with the economy. What? No, you have to go into the forest. Come on. There are still 2 stages. And if you don't do that, the whole world suffers. So, those are the main reasons to look at our adventure of moving abroad as a super, super transcendent, wonderful, exciting, deep, and transforming invitation. Yes, not just move my bags and find a nice house. Everything, all that is good. It's change. Finding the material accommodations to live well, all those changes, wonderful. It's not bad, but it's different from transformation. Could you tell a difference between change and transformation? What do you understand is a change, and what do you understand is a transformation? You can make changes, but you don't have to transform, right? Would you can come with an example of how to change things but without being transformed? Or to think about situations when you change this and you change this and you change this, but the transformation you were waiting for never arrived? Like in your marriages, like with kids, like we did this, we did this, we do things differently, but we don't get to the transformation we were expecting. Am I being clear? Are we do you agree with what I'm saying? That one thing is to change, to make changes, like I will change my country, but another thing is that I'm still in Mérida, and I'm not transformed. You were going to say something? Exactly. Brilliant. You gave the perfect example. We change from one job to another, from one partner to another, and we find ourselves repeating a pattern. And then we have this situation with this child, and then with the other child, and why is this repeating over and over again? Perfect. So that's the main example that we have between change and transformation. Every complex problem has a solution which is simple, direct, plausible, and wrong. If we deal with transformation, the way we deal with change, we're going to get it wrong. Transformation, it's not simple, it's always a process, it's always individual, it's always creative, and it's always wonderful and mysterious. But often it's not very agreeable. That's another thing. So, your tactics of change is to maintain your equilibrium, your homeostasis. I want to freeze my happy picture. What can I do to maintain things as I like? We all like that. I like my routines, I like We all like that things stay the way we planned it. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong. But life messes with us all the time. Like we want our coffee one way in the morning, and suddenly in the morning the coffee maker is broken. Life is messing with us. It's saying, haha, how are you going to deal with this little obstacle? And then, of course, bigger obstacles. When we have to transform, it's a psychological process of inner reorientation and self-redefinition. We don't get to be the same person we were before. Is there any mother here? Who is a mother here or a father? Nobody? Yes, you're a mother. Could you go back to be who you were before you became a mother? Impossible, even if you tried. No? Exactly. So you have to let go. And when I deal with these clients that they are in conflict with their motherhood, you always know, they cannot let go of their life before becoming a mother, the partying, the freedom. Nothing wrong with that. But if you stop the transformation, you start having issues. So what does William Bridges say? You have an ending. All transitions begin with an ending, wanted or unwanted. And why is letting go so difficult? The thing is, we don't really want to look at how we deal with endings. It's very difficult. I'm not going to ask for sharing about endings here because it's super delicate. I'm just going to try to guide your imagination. How do you say goodbye to a friend? How do you let go somebody that died, your pet? How did you say goodbye when you moved abroad? How do you leave parties? How do you quit a job? How do you leave a relationship? How do we do endings? Yes? It's super personal and it's super deep and it's very often unconscious. And very often we cannot really deal with that self-confrontation alone because it stirs up the estuary, all the feelings. I don't want to look at myself and see how I do endings. Of course, if the ending was unwanted, that's not nice. Then you go through a period of confusion and distress, or I want out. I want the new beginning. I want it simple. I want it fast. Why am I not there? I figured that moving abroad was going to be wow, because I saw Switzerland, and I said, yes, wow, I want to live there. And then I saw all the process like going like a movie. And I said, whoa, no, it's going to be really, really difficult. I am Mexican, I'm super warm and super, us, no? And then all the society, they are so private, and everybody in their group, and then the long winter. And if you are going, I have friends that they live in Switzerland, and they have this period of confusion and distress. Of course, I want to leave the marriage. This was a mistake. I want back. I cannot adapt. These people, I don't understand. I thought it was going to be so wonderful. So, or we avoid facing how we deal with endings, or we don't want to really stay in the period of confusion and distress that does the transformation. Like when we're making a baby inside. Those 9 months, 7, 8, 9 months, gives the mother all this period of, oh my God, now I'm a mother, oh my God, now it's happening, it's real, it's kicking, it's going to come out, what am I going to do, right? And the father, hopefully, is following, oh my God, it's really happening, it's there, it's kicking, the heartbeat, oh, transformation, now I have to do this, now I'm becoming responsible, no more joking around, no more flirting around, no more, all that period of waiting to transform yourself, and then the little baby is born and the transformation continues. You never know what kind of mother or father you are going to be because you don't know what kid is going to be born. Depending on the kid that is born, is the father or the mother you are going to be transformed into. Like, think about your children. My daughter is like super, she gets angry and passionate and she curses Mexican way all around. So she's transforming me in a mother that has to be very patient with the ability to close my ears to all the cursing, and lower my blood pressure until she is in a better mood and I can tell her, please express all that anger without all that cursing when you are with me. But I was not like that. I had to become, I'm having to become that mother because my daughter is transforming me in that mother. Your partner. You wouldn't be the person you are if it weren't for the partners you have had and the partners you have. Relationships makes us who we are. And it's also with the context and the people you get along with. You came to Mexico, you didn't go to Thailand. So Mexico is transforming you in a way that Thailand wouldn't. Yes? So we never know. How is it going to end? We imagine it. Oh, it's going to be like that. And then the estuary space, Mexico and you, and then the turbulence. And then you don't know how you are going to be ending at the end. What kind of person, like foreigner living in Mérida. And of course, many people say, no more Mérida, I'm going back or I'm going to another place. Because this was not the transformation I was expecting, no? So, we can get caught in distress. One thing is to bear the distress, and maybe if it's a lot of distress, because endings in your life have been terrible, and it's too much, maybe you will need professional help. But maybe it's not like that, but you don't know why you are like caught in distress, like you don't feel that the process of transformation is over, that you already are in that new beginning. I feel like I'm always in this transition. I'm no longer American or European, Canadian, but I'm not still the foreigner, Mexicano, Yucateco that I thought I was going to be. I no longer belong there, and I still don't feel that I belong here. Or when you go from one relationship to another. Or when you leave a religion, maybe, when you grew up in some religion, and then you say no more, but then you are still not in another place where you can be spiritual and feel it's home. So that period, it's not forever, should have a resolution. Which emotions do you think make this evolution harder or never ending or maybe get you stuck without being able to transform? Which emotions would you say, would you name? Fear. Fear is a very powerful one. When I am afraid of cockroaches, I never go where the cockroach is, right? And it's a good thing, fear. Thanks to fear, we Homo sapiens is dominating the earth. Well, stewarding the earth. But the thing is, out of order, it prevents us to go where we should go. Did you guys watch Star Wars? Yes. Okay, great. Do you remember that part where Luke Skywalker has Yoda on his back and the training, right? And then he feels the cold. And he asks Yoda, what's there? And what did Yoda say? What did Yoda say about that cave? You have to go there. You have to go into the cave. And Luke said, whoa, no, I don't want to. You have to go. And you have to lead your laser sable. Luke Skywalker said, no, no, no. In Mexico we say cuernos. No way, no way. I'm bringing my laser saber, right? And he goes into the cave and he finds Darth Vader, the enemy, his sworn enemy. And of course he starts fighting the enemy. And what happens? Huh? Yeah, he beheaded Darth Vader. When he feels he succeeded, then he finds out Darth Vader was himself. So fear prevents us to go wrestle with that other part of us that is in that cave we don't want to go into, right? Because it's where our shadow abides. And what's our shadow? Shadow in psychology is everything you swept away during infancy because you didn't need it, it wasn't approved, you needed to cope in a different way. What can be a shadow? Fear can be in the shadow. What else can be in the shadow? What other feelings go like to the repression closet? Anger. Which other emotions would you say go into the shadow? Sorrow. Shame. More? Insecurity, a good one, yes. More. Guilt. Huh? Resentment. More. Think back, you were growing up and shame on you. Because we were feeling or acting what? Think in a classroom. No, we don't do that here. You're going to the corner or you're going to have your quiet time. We don't behave like what? Like what? It's good, it's education. We have to be educated, otherwise we would be savages, we couldn't be in a civilization. Nothing wrong about that. Violence is another thing. But which other feelings, attitudes, thoughts, behavior goes into the shadow because of our adaptation process? Besides sorrow, shame, anger, fear, resentment, guilt. It is interesting that you named guilt, because we are in a very guilty society. But yes, there are families that we don't do guilt in this house. Guilt is bad. Okay, that goes into the shadow. More emotions that go into the shadow. Oh my God, why can't I have that beautiful, colorful dress that lady has? I didn't see it in the store. Oh, and she's wearing it, and I would look better in it. What's that? Jealousy, envy. Of course that goes into the shadow, no? She has more money, he's more powerful, strong, she's more beautiful. They have a loving relationship, they dumped me. Envy, jealousy. There are more emotions that go into the shadow. Look, anything can go into the shadow. You know that we just named like negative or disagreeable emotions, but also love, vulnerability, tenderness, sexual desire, all that goes into the shadow. All that goes into the shadow. Whatever we are like preventive or ashamed to show openly, like, oh, I want to eat that man, you know. Marisol, come on, you're Catholic, middle class, like, we don't do that. My mother, no. My mother cannot hear my daughter talk. My daughter said, oh my God, let me remind this singer, Zendaya. Do you know this John Zendaya? Well, beautiful singer, right? And my daughter goes, oh my God, I'm becoming a lesbian. I want to marry her. And my mother goes, what? please, please don't provoke your grandmother. She's from another time, And it's like, if they are not repressed, it comes out like that. Like, oh, I'm such a lesbian, I like that. Oh my God. Well, all that we all dudes, second half of life dudes, we repressed a lot. And then we have all this addiction to pornography and all these secret lives, and sadly, the Catholic priest with all the sexuality and their love repressed, they become pedophilic. Everything that goes into the shadow and you don't let to integrate, to come back to you, comes back, tries to come back always, but as a symptom. Yes? So, when you move abroad, you are already used to send into the shadow a certain amount of experiences, behaviors, attitudes. You don't allow yourself and you are not conscious. And maybe you can get stuck with that adaptation or any other adaptation or transition in your life because it's precisely that invitation that I spoke at the beginning, Jordan Peterson saying that God is the call to adventure, is like, okay, let's welcome the different. I'm working with this Mexican client, and she was always a perfect wife. In fact, her husband said, "You are the perfect wife." She always behaved Mexicanly, like, submissive, like I stay at home, everything you do is all right, you take the lead, you take the decisions. Of course, the Mexican husband was, wow, I won the lottery. And she was, she is beautiful also, right? And then she falls in love with another guy in the United States. They move abroad. They moved abroad with the daughter, and she falls madly in love with this guy. Then she contacts me. Now, I need therapy. What am I going to do with this? No? And of course, she was trying for me to get, leave the lover or leave the husband. But what do I know? It's her journey. I just go with her, Let's find out. Let's find out what happened there. Nothing. I'm just a wife. I'm just a mother. I'm simple. There is no depth in me. There is no mystery. I'm just misbehaving. I'm just going crazy. Something No. That's the thing. We are never simple. We are never, how do you say, intranscendent is a word? Non-transcendent, intranscendent. We are not mechanical, predictable, nothing like that. We are the consciousness of the universe individualizing as Marisol, as what's her name? Michelle. As Michelle, Greg,
Rose.
as Rose,
Mary.
as Mary. So, hello universe. The universe is, this universe forms consciousness in individual presentations. And each individual presentation has a different gaze and a different gift to bring. And if we don't bring it, then we have to repeat. And then it has to be repeated, the patterns. So, when a symptom hits, depression, anxiety, infidelity, addictions, like apathy, I don't have a drive for anything, I'm not passionate from anything. Physical illnesses like, wow, I was healthy, what's happening to me? Irritability. We are used to look at that as something negative. This shouldn't be happening. I should go and get fixed, like if we were a car. But the thing is your shadow trying to integrate as you, making you more complex, and that's the fourth dualer period. Yes, and then if you go through the transformational process, then you say, well, I used to be like that, but now I'm like this. And even if I tried, I cannot be that anymore. I just can't. Now I'm this, and it seems like a past life. Any of you had ever experienced something like that from your youth or your motherhood or after losing somebody, a spiritual experience, or after moving abroad? Not yet? Okay, so it's still to come. So yes, don't miss out. The forest dweller is waiting for you, and it's awesome. Okay, so any emotion. What time is it? Sorry, I talk a lot. Huh? Okay, so wrapping up. Any emotion that is in the shadow. Okay, I will skip to that. And we don't integrate because we are afraid of it, because we are ashamed of it, because we don't do that in the family, because my father won't approve, my wife won't approve, etc., my children won't approve, can get us stuck in the transformation process. And then we don't feel alive anymore. We are just like going through the motions. So, advice, yes, to do the great moving abroad. Know your why. If it was an unwanted moving abroad, find a personal why. That's the resilient advice when you're moving abroad wasn't wanted. You have to find a why. They can make me do this, but I can decide how I do it and what it's going to mean to me. And then you get in charge again of your life. Develop a vision. Who are you going to be with your spouse, with your loved ones? What are you going to contribute? Develop a great vision. We Mexicans, we are not really good at developing. We learn more that from you guys. Like, oh, great visions. Yes. We do better like the resignation thing. We have that on our side. Like, oh, it didn't happen. We're still happy. Let's party. Yeah. But then we have to learn from you. No. Let's fight for this. I can be good. I can be great. Yes. We can do this. No? And of course, you can learn from us. Like, go with a smile, even if you have to move dirt from the road. Develop a great vision. Know your needs. That's the pertaining to this talk issue. Know your needs. No, I know my needs. I just need pizza, sex, and good sleep. No. Oh, this is like blurred. Here it says significance. These are the 6 human needs, according all the experts. I'm not going to name. So, certainty, uncertainty. Like I want certainty, my routines, things my way, predictability, my money in its place. I want to know that I'm going to eat, etc. But also uncertainty. I'm getting bored. I need novelty. I need to have fun. I need to do something different, the spark, etc. Then you have significance and connection. I need to feel that I matter, that I make a difference. Yes, that I am important for my partner, for my children, for the community. And I need to connect. And this is the other pole. If I need only to feel significant, then it's going to be difficult for me to connect. Because to connect, you have to become one with the community. Like you don't want to outstand. Is that a word? Or like what? Sorry, I didn't. Dominate. Or like, I'm going to show you all that. Okay, no, like, let's work all together. We are all the same, in the same level. We connect. And then you have spiritual needs. Growth, to develop and evolve in your own way. And then contribution. What's going to be my legacy? The last ones, growth and contribution, are the spiritual ones. And the thing is, our brain is wired to feel happy, alive, full of life, and life is good if we are fulfilling the 6 of them in our own way and with different emphasis depending on the stage of our life. but we tend to prioritize one or two. And most people in the West society, we tend to prefer which two ones? I'm going to read them again. It's certainty, uncertainty, significance, connection, growth, contribution. Which one we use to prefer? Certainty, yes, of course. And significance. Yes, they are not bad. They are valid human needs, but they are rather like immature, like the basic. So if you are not feeling happy because you have all your certainty and you have all your significance, then you have to revisit any of the four and see what do you need to fulfill. Okay, no children in this community, I'm done. All this was for the children. Questions, comments? Look, this was my christening, talking to expats in English, trying to contribute something meaningful. Do you have any questions? Do you have any comments? How can I improve? Something that you reflect about what we talked about? Yes.
Just a quick question.
Yes.
About significance.
Yes.
Is that, you mean purpose?
Purpose. I would define purpose as feeling significant, growing, and contributing to the community. Like, significance is, oh, everybody's looking at me. Mama, look at me. Father, look at me. I'm beautiful. I'm doing this right. I'm successful. I was right. Let's say in our daily life, it's more like, I like to be right. I'm significant. They ask for my opinion. They come to me for help. It's not bad. But then, it kinds of collide with the connection, because if you never get down off that horse, it's not a bad horse. It's like, I feel very significant right now, but if I want to really connect with you, then it's better for me we sit in a circle and we share our lives, and then you are significant, you're significant, everybody's significant, and then we build a community. It's more like that. Any other questions about the second half of life? The difference between change and transition?
You had a slide earlier about Carl Jung and religion.
Yeah.
Where Carl had to do with neurosis.
Yeah.
And there were a couple other negative aspects in there. What if you took religion out of it?
Yeah. Without the world religion or the structural institutional religion.
Would that take care of those negative?
Yeah. What Carl Jung is referring to is that we are wired for having a connection with something that is bigger and more transcendent than us as our material reality. Like when you really feel like you are being guided or held, or that there is some power in the universe that created everything, that then you fall into this awe. When you wonder about your death, and then what's happening after? Well, I think I'm going to reincarnate, or I think I'm going to meet my beloved ones. Like, there is something bigger, non-material, we cannot see, we cannot touch, but we know is there. It can be felt like faith. Like, I cannot explain why I do know that God exists, but I know here it's like a certainty. It gives me peace. Or it can be like an inner voice that when you're very distressed, that, oh my God, or it's an earthquake, oh my God, my children, etc. And then an inner voice like, oh my God, let them be safe, let them be safe. Who are you praying to? Let them be safe. That universe, that love, that transcendent level of existence, creator, and it can be like a level that you are afraid of. If it's like, oh my God, there is a hell, and I better do things right, otherwise when I die, or it can be all loving and trustable, and you can simply have peace because we are all one with the universe. That level of spirituality, when we are facing terminal illness, when people we love die, when we are going to face our death, when we lose things, and then when people went to Auschwitz and the whole hell broke, now who we are, what we believe, and they held to their beliefs, to cope, to have hope. That dimension.
So he's saying people have this natural emotion that there's something out there that...
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. The other thing is, there's a lot of, you point out a lot of problems with people moving abroad that could happen. Fear or whatever. There's so much information out there for expats. Mexico, or you want to move to France, there's so much information out there about what to expect. There shouldn't be any surprises or illusions. If people just research this.
Okay, that's like all the logistic things that you are right. You have the videos, you have the guides, you have all the experiences. But the thing is, we all have unconscious expectations of how we are going to feel and be once we are there. That's the thing. That your own emotional adaptation process, maybe not about the place, but about yourself. Like, for example, this woman I'm talking to, they thought they were going to be so happy moving to the United States. We are leaving Mexico. Wow, at last, first world, we're going to make it. Our family, the three of us, They researched everything, they did everything. How could they have expected that they were going to break up their marriage? They had no awareness of the unconscious processes that happened when you do these transitions, and when you don't really navigate the transitions. Suddenly they made it, they were in the United States, and the daughter started harming herself, attempted suicide. What's happening here? All the logistics, the expectations, the material situation was right. Papers in orders, job, apartment, a business going on, family there. All was right. What's happening inside of us? What was the expectation that we were going to be just moved like furniture, from Mexico to there? And then years later, the mother who says, "My God, I don't know how did I get into this mess." Now they are divorcing. Is of course because we deny that. We think we are moving ourselves like we move our furniture. So that's this other spiritual realm that Carl Jung is addressing to, and what is this talk is about, like all these unconscious processes, all the shadow work, yes, and all the unexplainable things that happen to us and we weren't expecting.
So, you can do all the research you want, but you're still going to come up. There's still things that are going to come up that are related to what you've already learned about the country.
Yes, but about yourself. The journey is about yourself. I'm going to tell you something else, and we can wrap this up unless you have other questions, etc. There is like a third of people, I will say a third of people that will say, everything is fine. I don't understand all the mess. Really, everything is so simple. I do the research, I do this, I know what to expect, I know myself, etc. Boom, boom, I'm here. And these other 2/3 of people develop symptoms of some sort. We mentioned them. So when I conduct these workshops about self-knowledge and all that, this third of the population always tells me, I don't understand, I always feel good, I'm always fine. And then the question is, to this population I always say, ask your family, how do they feel around you? And there they find the question. When you don't feel this estuary space, this turbulence happening in you, it's because you are like, how do you say when you move your fabrics to India? Like export, no, it's not export, like when you sell something in one country but all the work is done in India or in Thailand. Outsourcing. You outsource your unconscious processes. And then spouses and children, and no, we cannot deal with her or with him anymore. It's unbearable, no? He's giving us such a hard time. And then the other person, what? Nothing is happening. There is always something happening. And if you don't feel it, your loved ones around you, they feel it. Because that's the journey of the human being. It's a constant transformation. Of course, there is a stage. I am not there. I think most people, we are not there. When we just navigate and flow, all the transitions, like a saint, like an angel, no? Well, there's very few people that are so enlightened, like, oh, I lost all my money, but doesn't matter, no? Oh, I don't have any friends anymore, or I'm going to die tomorrow. Well, there are people that are really up there. But the rest of us, we are in this transformative journey, and we are all connected. And if we are not living it in ourselves, we are outsourcing it. And if we have vulnerable people around, like children, they start with the symptoms. So more or less, that's it. That's a dynamic. Any other question? Any other comment? Okay. Well, how did I do? Yeah? My christening. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I felt very welcome with you. I didn't feel nervous. I felt at home. I felt listened to. And I thank you so much for that.